Hello, Art Imagination friends. I hope you guys are doing well, you and your families. I hope you are liking some of my other crafts, other art making videos that I've been doing. I hope they inspire you during this time to make some things of your own. But if you are making some of my projects, I hope that you are enjoying them, and I hope you guys have been using some of your own imagination and creativity in order to create some other new things. I hope some of them aren't too hard for you, or it's okay if you don't have some of the materials. Like I said, use what you have. Try to improvise a little bit. Just use what you have. I don't want you to go out and buy materials, so I'm trying my best to think of some things that you might have at home. But if you are making some of these projects, please share them with me. I would love to see what you have been working on, whether it's my projects or if it's some other projects that you found on the internet or some projects that you are doing for your art classes at school. I hope you guys are doing your schoolwork and staying active with that, but I hope you are also staying active with art, but also other things like sports, getting outside. I hope you are able to go outside once in a while, get some fresh air, enjoy some of the sunlight or the nice weather that we might be having. So please continue to stay active. Don't spend too much time in front of the TV, but if you are in front of the TV, maybe hopefully be reading a book. I like to do that sometimes while I'm watching TV, is read a book. People are like, how can you do that? And I'm like, multitasking. But don't watch too much TV. Try to read a book once in a while. I always encourage those to read because I love to read. I've been reading books myself, so I hope you guys are reading too, whether it's for school or for your personal benefit. I do hope you are having some fun here and there, whether it's with some of your siblings or with your family. I hope you guys are continuing to stay clean, staying safe, staying healthy though. Okay, so today what I thought we would be able to do, I have been talking a lot about these in my videos because like I've been using a material similar to this, and it is I think called tag board, but I'm not sure what it's called. I can't remember what I ordered, but this stuff. Now if you guys have watched some of my other past videos, you know what this is or what I reference this to, but I'm gonna mention it again. So we're gonna be working with a cereal box today. I was able to sneak one out of the house after we finished some cereal before it got thrown away. So again, I recommend if you are doing some of my projects, please collect some of your cereal boxes. Please ask permission before you snag one, if it is your parents' cereal or they don't like you using the box while you still have cereal. So please ask permission before you use these. But if you run out of cereal or use up all the cereal, then go ahead, keep the box. You could do so much with this box, I'm telling you. I'm gonna give you some ideas. Hopefully you guys can think of stuff on your own, but you can make, I remember when I was a little younger than you guys, I made like a bookkeeper. I know that doesn't make sense, but what I did was, so imagine this is just a regular box now because I cut it. So I might flip over to the back. So what I did was I cut the edges of the box, but I then glued this together, and then I had like a flap. So I just cut this side, and this side, and it kind of made like a book. And then I added some foam sheets around it, or you could use, some construction paper to cover up some of the cardboard. And then I made it look like a book. So how I made it look like a book was on the edges, I put some white pieces of paper, I glued some white pieces of paper all on the edges to where you see pages. If you need to look at a book to reference it, go for it. And then I drew lines to make it look like pages, and then I was able to open the book. So, and I kept like some of my craft supplies in there. I kept some like ticket stubs for movies that I had in my book box that I made out of a cereal box. I had this thing for a long time, and then finally it was getting a little bit bent, a little bit broken, and then I finally probably threw it out. But I had that thing forever, and I really loved it. But I found that in like a book, I think, one of my craft books. I have a bunch of craft books at home that I used to read because we didn't really have internet when we were kids. We had a dial-up computer, so you had to wait forever to look up things on the internet sometimes. And it costs a little bit more money. But I had a lot of craft books growing up, and that project was in it. So I'm gonna fast forward and try to stop talking now. So this is kind of like a shadow box. If you've ever heard of a shadow box, great. If you haven't, a shadow box is sometimes just a regular cardboard box. It could be a shoe box. But then on the inside of our shadow box is other things that are like 3D, or it could be a number of like random things like sand or seashells or pictures. And people sometimes make shadow boxes with some random things that they have. And it's kind of just to give it like a 3D effect look to it, but also like a back look to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it, what a shadow box is. But it's kind of giving a frame at the front and then all your stuff is in the back. But some people like to put seashells at the bottom, like if it's pictures from a vacation from a beach, or some other little knickknacks here and there. So maybe look up shadow boxes on the internet or in some books that you might find, or ask your parents what a shadow box is. They might be able to tell you a little bit more about it. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a shadow box. I'm gonna do a fish tank shadow box. If you haven't seen my other videos, I have done some other fish related things. And it's like, wow, Miss Nikki really likes fish. And it's like, yes, I do. I love the ocean. I was able to visit the ocean for the first time since I could remember last summer, and I got to pick up some cool seashells, and I'm going to make something out of it someday. So I might make a shadow box using my seashells. So I'm gonna get started with how to make this opening. You don't have to do this opening, that's just what I recommend. If you're using a shoe box, that's already taken care of for you, but I kind of like this frame look. And if you don't like that, I'm gonna show you how to cover it. All right, so I'm gonna make a fish tank, and I recommend you get like a blank piece of paper for a background, or you could paint all of it. That's totally up to you. If you have the paint, use it. I totally recommend that. And this project might be a couple day project. This might not be done within an hour. This might be a longer project for you guys. So just so you know. All right, I'm gonna point the camera down, so just give me a second to do that. There we go. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna show you how to do it on the back. So I would draw your frame first. So do a line like about a 1/2 inch from the edge of the box. So there's my first line. There's my second line. I'm kind of drawing lines on the inner border of my box. See? And then go ahead and cut that out. But if you don't feel safe cutting this out and you need an adult present or an adult to help you, please ask. Have them just, yeah, please be careful. So you're just gonna poke a hole with your scissors, and you're gonna start cutting. So the reason why I'm not gonna cut this out is because we need this part as a backing. We're not gonna do both sides. You could do both sides, like you could make it like a see-through box. That's up to you, but I want to keep the back kind of like a background, okay? Because I'm gonna show you how to do a background next. So go ahead, cut this all out. Cut, cut, cut. But if you don't feel safe, please ask an adult for help. Okay. Now keep this flap open. I know some of you might want to glue that already, but don't glue that yet. We're gonna do some stuff with that. So once you have this, we're gonna go ahead and make a bordering frame around it. If you have an extra piece of paper, go ahead and use that. And don't throw your middle part away because we're gonna use that. See, I have some little water friends here. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with this middle part. So this was my middle part of my crispy oats box with honey nut flavor. Okay, so see how big my paper is? That's gonna be used as my border. So all I want you to do is cut a chunk from this side and then a chunk from the top. You might want 2 pieces of paper depending on how we're gonna cut all this. But you could be making a frame, you could want it a little bit neater looking, but I'm just gonna show you. If you don't have paint and you just have paper, you can just cover it up. All right, so I have my strips of paper, and then I'm just gonna glue it on the border of my box. Now, if you have a shoe box, this might be a little trickier. Or you can make shadow boxes out of like your own shadow box out of any cardboard that you may find. You could do one out of a tissue box. You could do one out of, what else? I don't know if you guys know what an Altoid tin is. Altoids are mints. So people carry around these little Altoid tin boxes whenever they need to freshen their breath. And those are actually good shadow boxes, but you have to work very mini. That's the only thing with those shadow boxes is like those are for people who like to work very, very, very small. So that might not be the best. So I recommend for you guys just starting off with a shadow box, try to use a cereal box or what's it called? Tissue box or a shoe box. If you are using a shoe box, please ask your parents' permission before using a shoe box that you may have or a shoe box that they have, because they might be using it for their shoes. So whatever materials that you are using that you find around the house, like a cereal box, please ask permission first before using it or cutting into it, because who knows, they might need it or don't want you cutting things up. So please ask permission before you use anything that you find around the house. Okay. Alrighty. So all I'm doing is taking my strips of paper that I cut. Oh, so this one was supposed to go over here. Whoopsies. And that one was supposed to go here. Or, I don't know. Just, you know, try to make a border best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just doing a border to cover up some of the cereal box so it doesn't show. Okay. There we go. All right. So there is my border, or my frame. Now you guys can make this look a little bit nicer just by how you cut your paper and how you glue it together. If you want, you could also use a glue stick. That would probably help a little bit better because mine is starting to wrinkle already. Or if you have double-sided tape, but I don't know if you guys have double-sided tape. Remember, use what you have. All right. Next, we're going to be working on the background. Now, the background is important because you may just be staring into your cereal box if you don't think about what your background is going to be. Now, depending on what shadow box you want to make, your background is going to be totally different. So say you're not a fish person, you don't like the ocean. You could do outer space. See, that's kind of what a shadow box is. It's kind of, you know, cast a shadow and you have to look into it in order to see what's in there. And there could be a whole bunch of stuff in there. So here is my solar system or my space background. Now, you could have your box horizontal like this, or you could do it vertically. I'm gonna do a vertical box. That's gonna be my fish tank. So I'm gonna do a vertical fish tank. A lot of fish tanks are horizontal, but I'm just gonna show you some different ways of orientation. So when I say orientation, I'm saying how we are arranging our paper or some different shapes that we're putting in here. So I'll probably bring that up again later on when we're adding our fishies in there. But this is just an example of what else you could do. So you could do outer space, and then from the top of the box, so this is, if I was working this way horizontally, that would be my top. If I was working vertically, that would be my top. I hope you guys are understanding this. So if I am doing a space theme and I want things hanging, making it look like it's in outer space, you can create some planets. So for my fish tank, I created a fish and a turtle because that's what I have at home. Again, think of things that you are interested in. So would this be a beach scene? Would you have like a beach ball, maybe a sand castle in there? What would you have in there? So I want you guys to think of what you guys can make, what you would want in a shadow box. If it is a solar system, you could have planets hanging. Like I said, you can make planets. Doesn't necessarily have to be made out of paper. You could have like little planets made out of bouncy balls or toys that you have. Again, maybe use your parents' permission before you start doing things to your toys. I don't want you painting your toys or gluing your toys that were maybe expensive into your artwork. But if you have extra toys that you might want to use for these projects, go for it. But maybe don't, because you know, you don't know how much your parents spent on those toys. Okay, so this could be outer space, or if I flip it to the back, it could be it could be the night sky. And then you could have like little trees in there. It could be, so I made a castle for my fish tank, but it could be a fantasy land. You could make an ogre, you can make a unicorn. I know a lot of you like unicorns, so go ahead and do that. Do whatever interests you. What interests you? Imagine a scene. Imagine you're in an awesome place, whether it's on a vacation or a place that you made up, or maybe under the ocean. You could do an under the sea theme. I'm just doing something simple for myself and what I'm interested in, but you guys are not interested in the same things that I'm interested in. You may hate fish. That is perfectly fine. I know a lot of people don't like the taste of fish if you do eat fish. Some people don't like the taste of fish. I love the taste of fish, and I have fish at home. I know, ironic. But, you know, that's just what people like and don't like. Again, if you are doing this with a sibling, your brother or sister may not like the same things that you do, so they might do robots or a rocket ship in their solar system. Or they could be doing Minecraft. You can make a Minecraft scene if you're interested in Minecraft. I know a lot of you are. I think Minecraft is all about building, so you might want to do that. Anywho, going back a little bit, so we're gonna do a fish tank here. So for my fish tank, I'm gonna make my background first. Now what I recommend for your background is you take a different piece of paper and you cut it to the shape of the box. So this may be tricky, but I promise you it isn't. Like if you think about it, what you can do is you could actually trace your box on the paper that you want for your background. So there we go. Now if you have construction paper, great. If you don't, I'm going to show you how you can make your own background using a regular piece of paper. Now I do recommend, if you have thicker paper, use it like sketchbook paper, because that way you don't have to necessarily glue it. You don't have to glue, but I feel like it keeps things a little bit more in there. But if you also want to change up the background, you can make so many different backgrounds and make it, so say you want to make a picture of your family. So that would be like the foreground. So we would put them up closer. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'll draw some seaweed and I'll show you how to make things look closer and then more back. So this is our background. So it's fitting a little bit, but it's still a little bit tight in there. So I'm going to take my scissors, cut a little sliver off, just so it might fit a little bit better. And remember, you could always, try to slide it in, slide it out, whatever helps you cut it a little bit better to the shape of the box. So you might have to do this for a little while, just so things fit nice. There you go, that fits nice. Now, then go ahead and trim the top off, so that way your cereal box can close. Because we do want it to close eventually, just not yet, because we're going to be adding stuff in there. So there we go. Maybe lay it flat. Now you don't if it fits nicely in there and you don't want to glue it, that's perfectly fine. You could just let it rest in there. Now if you want to glue on stuff on top of this paper, that might be a little tricky. You might need a thicker piece of paper, just saying. It might be a little bit easier to work with and taking in and out of the box. Okay. Now, say you don't have construction paper like this, and you want to create your own background. Go for it. I'm going to make one really quick, because I have some paint here, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. So, and remember, wherever you're working, make sure you have a piece of paper laid down, so that way you keep things a little bit more tidy, a little bit more clean, so that way you minimize some mess for you and your parents. I don't want your parents getting mad at you. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my own background. So I am doing a fish tank, so I'm gonna add some greens, some blues. I need more blue. Like I said, do what interests you. Use your imagination. I don't want you to copy me necessarily. Like, I want you to do whatever you're interested in. If it's dancing, make like a ballet scene. You could do that. If you're into horses, maybe do a farm scene. If you're into robots, maybe make a robot scene of robots maybe taking over the world. I don't know. It's totally up to you. You're at home. You are able to do creative things right now. So think of things outside the box. Experiment. I want you guys to experiment. If it's something bad, then don't do it. If it's like, if you're not supposed to be doing like experimenting with certain things, then don't do that. I don't recommend that. No, don't listen to me if it's bad. But please, like, if you are making artwork, I do want you to experience some things, try things that may not work, please use your imagination. This is what this class is for. For those of you who have taken my classes, you guys know what this class is all about. I try to have you guys use your imagination. It's not what I want to do, it's what some of you guys want to do. I kind of give you the broad idea of the project, and then I have you guys choose the color, choose what we're gonna add, what we're not gonna add. So think of things. So that's my background to my fish tank. I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit. But, so just pretend this is dry. I know it's not dry, but for the sake of time, I might just put it in my cereal box already. Ooh, no, it's not dry. Okay, that's not gonna work. If you want to add a little glue, so that way your background sticks to this box, go for it. All right, maybe it'll stick a little bit better. Oh, I wish this was dry already. Okay, there we go. All right, it sticks to the background good enough for now. I got some fingerprints in there, but that's okay. And there you go. You have your background. Now, I wish I had some little pebbles to show you, but if I had some pebbles or some like gravel, because at the fish tank, if you have a fish tank, gravel goes at the bottom, and it's to keep the bottom from getting dirty, and it kind of makes it look like the tank look a little bit nicer. So people add some gravel or pebbles or rocks to the bottom. So if I had some, I would put that in my shadow box, but unfortunately I don't. I mean, I have pom-pom balls. I could use that as gravel. I might actually go get some pom-poms. Show you guys what I'm talking about. Sorry. Brief intermission. There we go. Okay. So here's my background, but before we add anything to our foreground or any 3D objects, that is for the end. So go ahead and save that for the end. Now, if you want to make like a background and paint it, that's totally fine. Now, if you want to make any other fun things to go onto your background, go ahead and do that, because I made a little castle for my fish, so that way he's not homeless. Oops. So if you want to add things to your background instead of like drawing or painting on your background, depending on what materials you have, but if you want to make like extras and then add it, that's totally fine too. You could work both ways. I'm just doing it this way to show you that, like say you made like a nice picture on your background and it's getting cut off by the border, that might be a problem. And that's why I kind of made something separate to show you. Now here's my little house. Now that's gonna go in the background. So there we go. Doo-doo. And like I said, you could have made this sideways. It could work sideways too. So I would just put my castle down here, but I want to make it like this. So that's just how I want to do it. You can do it whatever way you want. Okay. So I have this to my background. What else? Alrighty. So is there anything else that you want in your background? Do you want bubbles already? You could do bubbles. Or if you find something at home that you can make into bubbles, I don't know. Maybe like a ping pong ball, I don't know, or a marble. If you find a way of making it float, that could work. It's all of what you have at home. So think about things that you may have at home that you could use for your shadow box. Okay. So next, using the cardboard that we made in here, I want you to go ahead and make stuff to go in your middle ground. So your middle ground is stuff that's going to be like floating or whatever. Like say if you were doing a rocket ship, you might want that to be in your middle ground. So kind of like the 3D thing of your project. So I'm going to do a fish and my turtle. Now what I did was, if you don't have like stronger paper, because for this part, if you are making something 2D and then having it like kind of dangle from the top, if you just have computer paper at home, what I recommend you do is draw whatever you want in your middle ground, whether it's like an animal or a person or something. Draw it on that piece of computer paper and then go ahead, cut a big shape around it and then glue it to your paper. So I think I'm gonna do some bubbles just to show you that you could also do this. So I'm gonna draw some bubbles. Oh, this is all the way zoomed out. Okay, so I'm gonna work over here. Now I said you could put bubbles in the background, but they could be in the middle ground if you want them to. That is totally up to you. But the thing is, what I don't want you to do is just to like go ahead and use some string that you may have and try to hang it just by this piece of paper. If you want to, go ahead. I know like some of you don't have some materials, but like I said, save the middle part. This is the middle part of my cereal box. Save that. Or if you're not doing, like if you're doing other projects with this material, go ahead and cut the front and the back of the cereal box and use it for my other projects. Like I said, I keep referencing cereal boxes, like if you don't have some of like the tag board material that I have to use as a backing for support for some of the pictures that you are making, go ahead and use a cereal box. Honestly, it will save your projects. It will make things less flimsy, a little bit more stiff. Like I said, we're using it as a backing. So here are my bubbles. I'm gonna leave some room in case I want to make something else, but gonna glue those on. Go. Maybe spread it with your fingers, spread the glue, or with the, there we go. Let that dry, and then it'll be like nice and supported once you cut them out. So you have to do like a little bit of like more cutting, but if you don't want to be as precise, like I completely cut around my bubbles. Now if you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. I recommend actually drawing your picture and then cutting a big shape around it, so that way you have space to glue it, and it actually like kind of like the paper is not going to lift off after I glue it all the way down. So that's why I left this extra piece, so that way it's easier to glue and will stick a little bit better, a lot better actually. See, I can't even pick that up with my nails. I mean, what nails? I don't have nails. So go ahead, carefully cut out whatever you want in your shadow box. I hope you guys make this project because this is probably a really fun one. You could use so many different materials for this one if you have them. You could use your imagination. That's what I want for you guys, is to use your imagination. Oops. Oh no. I cut some of this bin. Okay. So see how nice and stiff that is? Like I can't even, it's not floppy at all. It's nice and stiff, and it's not gonna bend really. I mean, it's gonna bend a little bit, but that's just because it's still a little bit wet. But it's like gonna be a little harder to rip. It's not gonna crumple as easy. So for example, I made these fish for another project for my little kiddos. But see how flimsy this is? It's gonna be very flimsy in your box too, especially if it's moving around, especially on a string. So, and it's easily rippable. So this one, I don't want to rip it, so I'm not gonna rip it. But this one's gonna be a little harder to rip. It's not as flimsy. It's nice and it's on. So the cardboard acts as like a support, a backing to it. All right, I hope I'm making that clear. But that is gonna help you a lot. So keep that middle part. I'm gonna say that like a whole bunch of times tonight. Alrighty. So I'm gonna also cut out my little turtle. And he's gonna be the same way. He's gonna be nice and supported with this cardboard. Because this is technically a cardboard, it's just very, very thin and light. And I feel like it is the best material to use. And you know what? You're recycling. Earth Day is coming up soon. So I hope you guys are recycling, saving the planet. And this is a good way you could do it. So Earth Day is coming around the corner, but you know what? Every day should be Earth Day. Always recycle, always pick up your trash, whether it's at home or at school or outside, pick up your trash. If you see some trash, maybe pick it up. If you see a trash can nearby, don't pick up anything, but like if you see like a little crumpled piece of paper and you know, you see a garbage can, maybe go ahead and pick it up. Just saying. Save the planet. Every day is Earth Day. All right, I'm gonna cut out my bubbles, even though they're not dry yet. And you could see like some of the glue, like if you are working with marker and some of your glue is getting on that marker and you're spreading that with your fingers, it's gonna kind of make your image a little bit more messy. See, my fingers are dirty. So I recommend waiting for the glue to dry all the way, but for the sake of this video, I don't have time to wait for things to dry. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut. So that way I could show you what you guys can do. Now if you don't have yarn, maybe use some string. If you have some old shoelaces, I'm not saying go ahead and take shoelaces out of your shoes, but if you have some old ones lying around or from an old pair of shoes, maybe use some shoelaces if you have them. Remember, I'm just thinking of materials that you may have at home, things that you can recycle too. So think of things that can be recyclable. So like a cereal box. All right. So these are gonna be in my middle ground. These are the things I'm going to hang. Meaning from the top of my box. And see how my background is kind of curling? I'm actually gonna fix that. I'm gonna go in with some more glue and hopefully it'll stop from trying to curl. There we go. But like I said, wait for things to dry. I am not waiting for things to dry, so I am actually a bad example. Okay. Also, if you want things a little less messy, go ahead and use tape. If glue isn't working and you're not that patient, maybe use some tape, because that's what I'm gonna do. There we go. I might take this tape off, but for the sake of I need things to stick, I'm using tape. So if you have tape and you're and you ask your parents' permission to use the tape, go ahead and use some, but please ask permission before using up all the tape, or taking it without permission, because I don't want you guys to do that. I don't want anybody to get in trouble or take things without permission. So there we go. Okay. So also, I didn't say this before, so if you don't want to spend time drawing everything, or you don't like what you draw, that's okay. I understand that. If you don't like some of the things that you draw and you don't want to use it for your project, that's perfectly fine. Another good source that you could use is some magazines. You could use magazines, make a collage in there, use some pictures for that, but remember, use your cardboard that you have from your cereal box as a backing for even magazines, or whatever you print off the internet. So again, instead of magazines, you could also use the internet. So if you know you want like a certain fish or a certain type of animal or a place, you could even print off a background and put that in there. That's fine too. It's just another way of doing it. I like making my own things, but if you guys want to do it differently, that's totally fine. You could use your imagination while using the computer. A lot of people do it. I just like, making all my things, because like, you know what, you're learning, it's a learning process. So like all this stuff I did today, I learned how to do because someone taught me, or I read it from a book. I think I read this from a book. All right, so next you're gonna take your string. I'm gonna just cut 3 because that's all I need. And I'm cutting it long, so maybe like as long as my box, just to give myself some height. All right. Okay. So next, if you want to tape these, go ahead and tape these. But like I said, use what you have. If you have glue, glue these. So go ahead, tape, or I think tape is less messy sometimes for certain things. So this would be a certain thing. So if you have tape, I recommend using your tape to stick your yarn onto whatever you want in your shadow box hanging. There we go. Now my bubbles are going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be hard to tape certain things, especially if you make them a little bit smaller. So see, I have to really get that tape on there for my bubble. And if you want to do a back, so I should have maybe done a back to my bubbles, because like this is really super spinny. If you want to do a back, like, so if you want to make it like a mirror reflection on the back side, so on the back of my fish, you could see some of the oats or Cheerios, I should say, on the back. So if you don't want that shown, go ahead, if you are printing, print 2 images of the same size, and then you could sandwich them together in between the yarn. So for example, I have one fish, and I have the exact same fish, maybe a little different, but if I don't want to see the tape, go ahead with your yarn, you're gonna stick the yarn in there and you're gonna sandwich it together. So that way, if the fish is spinning, you're gonna see a back and a front, and it's gonna be the same. So that way you don't see the backing of the fish if you are using the cereal box. So I recommend if you do print something, still use the cereal box, but sandwich, like glue a piece on this side, glue a piece on this side, and then cut it. Like I said, you have to do some experimentation with this, but you could also do it just like how I am doing. But maybe now that I'm thinking about it, I maybe would like a back, like the same fish, so my fish on this side to be on the back. So just keep that in mind. So now what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna close my box, and then using a toothpick or maybe like a hole punch, if you have a hole punch, go ahead, you could poke holes in the top. But another easy thing, if you do have tape or glue, you could also do the easy thing and tape things. I'm gonna shorten some things, so try to measure. Oh, okay, it's all good. So where is your I can't say it. Fish, oh my gosh. Sorry, getting all mumble jumble here. Okay, think about where you want your fish to be present. Do you want it to be over his little home? Do you want it to be on the side? Do you want it to be directly in the middle? So I think I'm gonna have it directly in the middle, and see, he's gonna spin, so you're gonna see some of that back of his thing. So go ahead, cut your string to where you want it to hang. Add your piece of tape, and then stick it. If you want to work flat, that's fine too. Go ahead, work flat. So put your shadow box down here, and you could work like this. Okay. So he's gonna be hanging just like that. Now for my turtle, I think he's gonna be a little lower, so I'm gonna just trim like a little bit of my yarn, because I want him to be below the fish, because I feel like the turtles like to stay closer to the bottom anyway of the tank, or the ocean maybe, I don't know, or the pond. Remember, there's different kinds of turtles out there. And then here are my bubbles. And those I'm gonna have hanging right here. And then when you stand your shadow box upright, you might have to turn some things around. So it's looking like my fish is swimming, my bubbles are hanging. So it's looking pretty cool right now, and I'm happy with it. Now another thing you can do, if you don't want to see your yarn, so if you don't want to see this yarn, all you can do, what you can do is you can make it invisible. And you're like, what? You can make yarn invisible? Yes, you can. But it's not yarn, it's fishing line. So if you've ever seen a person go fishing, they're not fishing with yarn, they're fishing with fishing line. Now, fishing line is very strong, it's very thin, and It's barely visible if you see it hanging somewhere. But fishing line is really nice to use for this because you won't be able to see the string. It's very, very thin and very, some of them are clear, so some of them are really hard to see. I'm actually, hold on, sorry. I'm gonna show you what fishing line is because I feel like it's really good for this project. And if you have it, great. If you don't, I completely understand. But for those of you who may want to take this to the next level, I'm just giving you this as an idea. So this is Trilene? Yeah. And see, it's got a fish on it, made by Berkeley, and it's super strong, and it's extra tough. So, as for example, yarn, I could probably pull yarn apart or break it apart, and it kind of gets frail after playing it with it for a lot, or you can unravel it, see? So that's yarn, but this is totally different. This is heavy duty fishing line, and it's so that the fish don't see it. So if I were to, I'm gonna show you with my fish. Okay. So here we go. Can you see that in my video? Barely. Oops. So if you use fishing line, you can't see it. So that's what I recommend if you are gonna really commit to this project and you want things to, I don't know, look invisible or, ooh, sorry, my fish does not want to attach. I feel like even fishing line, if you are working with it, is a lot easier to cut too than yarn. Just takes a snip. There we go. See? And you can't see what the fish is being held up by. So rather than yarn, you could see the yarn because it's blue and it's not blending in with my background, whereas the fishing line, you can't even see it. So that's just another option or another idea to give you. Like I said, I don't want you to go out and buy things. This is just a suggestion if you have it. If you know someone in your family, oh my goodness. If you know someone in your family that likes to go fishing or just happens to have fishing line, go ahead and ask if you could use some. Because I feel like this is, you know, taking your project to the next level, making it look a little bit nicer, making it look like a real shadow box, so on and so forth. Now for my last little part, in the foreground or in the front or whatever is going to be towards the front, go ahead and I might make a plant. So I am running out of time, so I'm just going to work quickly. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to make like a seaweed type thing for my fish tank. Because fish do like plants, whether it's like real or plastic. Even if you have fish in a fish tank, they do like plastic plants. They just like plants. For some fish, they like to eat the plants. But if you don't have fish like that, you could always put plastic ones. Real plants are healthier for your fish. But again, if you don't have, or they are a little bit more expensive. So I'm just, oops. I'm gluing, oops, right, running out of time. Okay, so this is going to go in my foreground, so whatever is going to be closest to the front. And so I just made like a little plant, and then I'm going to tape it to the, like right here of my box, just like that. And now my little turtle is kind of like hidden, but you could, I'm going to put him in the plant. And my castle is hidden, so if you want, you can make it less or more, depending on how you want this plant to be. If you are doing a fish tank, but if you're not. And then whatever you have that you want in your box, like some seashells, or if I had some rocks, I would put them in there, but I have pom-pom balls. But it's more so if you have a glass, so that way they don't fall out. But if you glue these down, that could be my gravel. So I'm not going to glue these down, I'm just going to put them in there to show you what you guys can do. Boop. So there we go. Alrighty, that is my shadow box. And you guys probably will be able to make one a little bit nicer because you have more time. Like I said, this might not be an hour project. So please take your time with this, make it look nice. Make something really fun that you will enjoy and that your family might enjoy seeing around the house. Whether it's something you're interested in, or you can make a Mother's Day shadow box for your mom for Mother's Day with some of your pictures, maybe some old toys that you have. From when you were very, very small. You can make one for your mom for Mother's Day. I feel like you could do so many things with cereal boxes. You can make one out of a cereal box, or you can make one out of a fancy frame that you buy at the store. So I hope you guys really love this project. I sure did. I had so much fun making it, and it was just out of a cereal box. So like I said, try to use your imagination, because that's what all art imagination is about. Using our imagination, creating something new, something different, and something that we like and enjoy, something that we're interested in. Think of some of your interests, your hobbies. What would you think you would like in a shadow box that you would like to keep safe, or you would like to create a whole different world? So just think about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry we are out of time, but I hope you guys are continuing to stay clean, stay safe, stay healthy, but also staying active, whether it's inside or outside with your family, your siblings. So remember, try to stay active during this time and stay positive. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Hope we see each other soon. I really miss you guys too. I hope we are able to see each other soon, because I do really miss you guys. So I really hope you guys had fun with this project if you do make it, and I would love to see pictures. I would love to see pictures of what you guys have been making. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.